Hi there, my name is Lo. Welcome to my channel where I discuss everything between Hermes and grocery bags. Welcome to part 2 of my 3-part series on my luxury buying behavior. In the first part, I shared some, wisdom, so to say, on things that I feel I do pretty well when it comes to luxury and handbag purchasing. In today's video, I will discuss the mistakes that I have made and that I sometimes will keep on making. And in the third part, which will be up next week, I just share my ridiculous rules for purchasing handbags that are probably not going to be very helpful to you, but which are very defining to me and my collection. So the first luxury mistake or handbag mistake that I've made multiple times and that I will probably continue to make in the future is not returning items even though they are not right. And that doesn't always mean the same thing. So I've had it that items were sent to me that, for example, were the wrong size or they were actually the wrong style, but that I did actually like them, so I decided to keep them because I got them for a good price. I think my most notorious recent example is the Coach Cassie that I got in the faded blue. It's this beautiful sort of Tiffany blue type of color. I absolutely loved it and I absolutely loved it on that bag, but I ordered 2 of these bags and pretty much for both the quality was just not up to par, but I decided to keep the second bag because I figured quality is probably just not great on these bags. I really do want to have it because I like the color so much. It's a seasonal item. They were going to sell out. But I think in retrospect that I shouldn't have accepted an item that was still quite expensive, even though it was a Coach bag that was just not up to my standards. I should have just sent it back. Even though it's not uncommon that you have to pay for your own returns, if you can show that there's actually a quality issue with the bag, then usually companies will also refund you for the return of the item. The thing also is that with keeping these items, that then you already have that item and then you're much less likely to get the item that you actually wanted because what you got instead is already such a close approximation, but it's not actually quite the right thing. Generally, I will not buy destruction bags on purpose, but if I get sent a bag that is not quite the thing that I wanted, for some reason I just cannot be bothered with returning it, which is actually kind of a silly thing to do. So really I should just return these items and save my money for another bag or another occasion where I can actually buy the item or another item that I like. My second fault when it comes to buying handbags is that even though I have a pretty good idea of what will work for me when buying a handbag, and I will discuss these things in next week's video, sometimes I will also just not think about what works for my lifestyle. And I think this Loewe flamenco bag, which is my eye candy of the day, sorry I hadn't mentioned it before, but this Loewe flamenco bag I think is a good example of that because I really liked the style of this bag. I think it's super interesting with the knots and everything, but this very smooth, soft, delicate nappa leather, it absolutely scares me to bits. I'm so scared to damage this bag or make it dirty also because the color is pretty light. I'm not sure now that I have to travel less with public transit, I might actually start using it a little bit more. Also from all of the videos that I've seen on this bag, it should technically not be such a delicate bag. People use this for every day, but I've really only used it a couple of times in the about 2.5 years that I've had this bag, and it's just such a waste in that sense. I've really considered whether I should perhaps sell this bag just because I don't get a lot of use out of it, but then I also know that if I sell it now I will never be able to get this again for the price at which I got it, because I got it when Loewe still went on sale, and I think I got 50% discount on the retail price a couple of years ago. Then the third mistake that I will make, and it's only occasional, but there is this sort of lifestyle creep, handbag creep. So usually the most you are spending on a handbag will probably be a sort of primer or anchor for the next time you're going to spend quite a lot of money on a handbag. And I think this happens to quite a lot of people, that first they are buying Michael Kors or Coach, and at some point perhaps they buy Mulberry or Givenchy or something like that, that then grows into buying Chanel or Hermes or Dior, for example. So it is a very slow process for me. Fortunately, it's not like that it goes with like $500 increments, but in my mind I always set sort of a threshold on what I spent on my Loewe puzzle bag, because that was really one of my dream bags and it's still one of my favorite bags in my collection. I have spent more on bags that were not my dream bags. And I know we're dealing with these ridiculous price increases as well, so I know in that sense it's not very reasonable to have like what I paid for that bag as an anchor for forever and ever. But sometimes I do feel a bit silly where I'm thinking I already have like one of my dream bags. Why would I still spend like more money on other bags that, yes, I do really love, but do not actually meet that level of my Loewe puzzle bag. And then my last pitfall is that I tend to get overly hung up on particular brands. Well, at the end of the day, these romances can be quite short-lived. So I think the last time around that I did it was with Salvatore Ferragamo. Did a whole video about how cool this brand was, gave a lot of examples of cool bags, and I unboxed 2 of their bags only to send one back like 2 weeks later, because actually the quality was not up to my standard. So I figured for the money that I'm now spending on this fairly small bag, that just needs to go back. And that also immediately sort of gave me a experience with Ferragamo where I'm like, okay, so this brand is not perfect. And I mean, it's fine, it's just a brand at the end of the day. But I was feeling kind of bad that I had done this whole video about Ferragamo and sort of recommending it, only to come to the conclusion of, well, this is probably a fairly decent brand, but it's like most of the other brands, it's not 100% perfect. And this was only the last time that it happened, but I tend to crush on brands, and the whole reason why my channel is called Lo Ye Ye is because it's just sort of a play on words on Loewe, because I used to feel like I was a Loewe girl. Then they sort of priced me out of the market and I didn't find the new styles that they had all that interesting. I was kind of disappointed when they came out with the Puzzle Edge, because I felt like Loewe is this brand that will still like make good bags, and they put in the effort, and then they came out with the Puzzle Edge and they basically got rid of the old school puzzle, and I was just kind of disappointed. So I know in my heart that I shouldn't get hung up on brands all too much, but I also think it's quite common for people to fall in love with particular brands. There's so many other content creators who have a very strong relationship with a brand that they will just buy 9 out of 10 bags or 10 out of 10 bags from, regardless of the quality, regardless of all of the price increases that brands may have. I've even seen it been described as having kind of an unhealthy relationship with a brand. I don't feel like I'm quite there yet, but I do feel like I crush on brands. I will share that love for a particular brand, but it may also die down pretty much just as quickly. So by creating content and sharing my views on YouTube, I will try to be a bit more mindful of what brands I will recommend, and overall I have a pretty well-rounded collection when it comes to brands, but I will probably continue to crush on some brands every so often, get a couple of bags from them, and then realize that it's not everything I dreamed of, because these are just corporations at the end of the day. They are also just in the business of selling stuff and making money. I cannot expect, I guess, with pretty much any brand, that they're always going to deliver amazing quality, never going to do price increases, or never going to do very steep price increases, and keep on coming out with designs that I find inspirational each and every single time. It just is what it is. There's a lot of beautiful bags in this world. I think it would be helpful for me if I sort of detangle the particular bag from the brand and be absolutely in love with a particular bag without being absolutely in love with a particular brand. So these are my luxury mistakes that I wanted to share with you. Let me know down below in the comments, are there some things with regards to luxury or handbags that you keep on doing wrong or suboptimally despite knowing better? Let me know how you deal with things like this. That's it for today. Hope to see you back again for next week's video. If you enjoyed this, consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel. I'd love to get to 8,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And that's it for now. So remember, there's a style in a situation and a taste for everything. So don't judge, wear whatever bag you like. Until next time, or as we'd say in Dutch. Doei!